I'm getting ready to make mashed potato. I'm going to cut this iced potato here. Yeah, I'm going to cut this iced potato. Then I'm going to cut it down in squares. Not small. One, two, about 3/4. Because these are small potatoes here. And I don't have to cut them no more than that. At least about 3/4 here. Potato. So let me go ahead and do this. And then I'm going to wash them. Put them in the pot and wash them down. Put them in a pot and then boil them. I'm not going to boil them very long. I'm just going to slightly boil them for the texture, just to get them somewhat tender, but again raw. And once I get them halfway, I'll just let them steam down on their own. But I won't continue to boil. I'll turn the pot off and give it about a good 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the pot off and just let them sit, cool down, and rinse them off, and then just let them continue to cool down on their own, because potatoes are still cooked. If you're cooking vegetables and boil water, and then if you turn the water off, they're still cooked. So this is what I'm going to do. Hold on. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm getting my breakfast on. I'm going to make me some grits. Hold on. I almost got the right texture. Now, my fork can get in, but I don't want it tender to where I'm making mashed potato. I don't want that. Let me see. Well, the fork can go in. At this point, I want to give it about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to turn it off. Just let the potatoes cool down, because they're getting to the texture that I'm looking for. You don't want them real soft, but you want them just enough to push the fork in. You want to have to force the fork to go through. They're not fork tender. See there? That part there is a little too much raw, but that one is great. So I just need to give it a few more minutes, and I'm going to turn it off, because I don't want them so tender that when I mash them down to make mashed potato or make potato salad, that it's too smushy. So at this point, I'm going to turn the stove off and just let them continue to cook in this warm water. Just to continue to cook in warm water, because otherwise, like I say, it would go to a point where there is no return, and then I would have to cook a whole bunch of other potatoes just to get back to do it all over again. I'm not doing that this morning. I got to get my breakfast going and sit down and watch my news. So this is it. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to pour the water off it and get them to cool down. I'm going to boil about 7 to 8 eggs for my potato salad. Hold on. I got my water hot to get ready to put my eggs in to the hot water. Now, my son tells me I've been boiling them the other way, which is hard to get the egg shell off. He said, let the water boil first. So now, this goes to my son. If this doesn't come out to be the way I want it, and these eggs bust because they were cold, me and you gonna get into it, buddy. Because I know you can't cook rice. I've seen you operate. But I do like the way he boiled eggs, and it came out to be easy for him to peel. Now I slowly submerge these eggs into the water. Not just drop them in. Not just have the water cold and let the water build up to get warm. So I'm going to slowly submerge them in. Take it easy with these eggs, because I do not want them to crack. Because he's watching. And when you got a son, ain't never been up in the kitchen to do nothing, show me nothing, unless when the babies were small, he would go in there and cook spaghetti with turkey, ground turkey. Ooh, but it tastes good. I hate the idea, he say, doing it with ground turkey. But it's a lighter version. So I said to myself, well, if that's what he wants to do, he'll go in there and he'll make spaghetti. He'll do a few things. I've never seen him fry anything. He always bakes. But when it comes to his kids, he will get in the kitchen and try. And that's the way he did. And he raised first the twins, now his last baby, and Cornelius, and he loves them so. And the daughter loves him. Even when the food don't turn out right, she'll complain with him, but she loves him too and she'll eat it. He means well. He's a scholar and a master. So I'm very proud to be a parent. So if he's a scholar and a master going for a PhD, I ain't got nothing to complain about, because he corrects me all the time about my behavior, which reminds me, when he was a child, I used to not try to do the same thing my mama would do, bust you in the behind, tell you to sit your ass down. But I still use that phrase, go sit your ass down, because I understood one thing. When my mother said that, she ain't mean I'm going to talk to you no more. I'm not going to try to explain this to you no more. I think you're hard head, and what you need to do is go sit your ass down. That tells you that that's my last warning. And if you keep going at what you're doing, I'm going to get a shoe, and I'm going to break you in the head, I'm going to bust your ass. So, my son says, Ma, I don't like the way you go around hollering and fussing. He said, I never did like it. But he said, because I respect you, I listen to you. I said, thank you, son. He said, that doesn't make you right. I said, okay. I said, now, I got a problem with that. He said, that does not make you right. I said, well, I thought about him, what he said, and, he was only about 8, and I went in a room and I got to thinking about it. Now, I've heard him say this before as a little guy, about 4, 5 years old, but it didn't really register till he got about 8. And we had this argument. The way I raised them, I always say, when I tell you something, I say so. I was starting up with my mother's trend. And I said, no, that ain't going to work no more. I can't keep telling him what I say and what I say so, and then slap him in the face. So I said, I have been talking to you. When you was a little bitty baby, I would not try to whip him and whack him and raise him up and knock him in the boop with a pamper on. I would hit him at the fingers. And when he put his hand on the table and he grabbed at something, I said, that's it. And I hit his fingers. And he'll look at him and he'll snatch him back. And he got good at that game. He snatched back before I can hit. I said, you getting smart, aren't you? And he learned fast. And then he'll come around me again. I said, I told you don't go over there and don't pull on my drapes and don't do this and don't do that. So as he got older, I said, I always believe you discipline when they're small. It's like treating a plant or planting a seed. You don't trim off the seed before you put it in the ground. And you definitely don't do too much when it's sprouting up. But as it sprouts to form to be what you think is going to turn out to be vines or roots or it's going to be a tree, then you trim around the tree. So as he got older, I said, well, we don't been over this, and I don't whack you, and I say shush, and I said that's enough, or come on over here and lay down, and I want you to understand what I mean. It's just me and you. And I would always tell him, I said, it's just me and you now. I said, now, even though your daddy be working, I said, but it's me and you. I'm not very good at being a mother. I don't know what that means. But I'm going to learn through you, and you are going to help me. So that was our course of life coming in. And I said, every time I got stuck, and I said, Lord, I don't know what to do now. I know he don't like what my mother did. So I need to figure this out again. And then I would lay down and I would cry because it hurt me so bad, because I didn't want to be like my mom. And there was a lot of things she did back in the old South, calling her scop riding root or skid riding root, that she was hell to come over on a person. And she had 7 kids, but she was hell of a storm, and she said it's like a dust storm. So when I had this conversation with my son, he says, Ma, I know you're reasonable, and I know you listen. I said, I tried to. And I want to understand where you're coming from when you said, I'm not right. And I said, you tell me I'm not right. And he said, no, Ma, everything you do, that don't make it right. And you ain't right. He said, I just never said anything because I knew you were trying to figure it out. So he said, but I'm getting older, Ma, and you can't pull those tricks on me. You can't bribe me with candy. You can't trick me no more. You can't hit me. It doesn't hurt. He said, if you wanted to feel like it hurted, I'll cry. If you want to feel like you penetrated my mind, I'll look sad for you. And I said, you did all of that. You've been faking me out. And he said, yeah, and you've been trying to fake me out. You've been crying like your mother, hollering out, Lord have mercy, laying on the side of the bed on your knees, praying to God, saying that you about to lose it. And I knew you never did. So I tried to get to an understanding. I said, well, you know, you got me. I'm busted. So what we going to do about this? He said, Ma, you can try to talk to me. I said, well, I've been talking to you. I said, let's do this. I've been watching you for quite a while. And I've been marking down on my calendar things that you've been doing that you like to come back to me and argue and dispute about that I was wrong or I was unreasonable. So I said, when 6 months come and I look back at everything you done that I allow you to get away with because you like to argue with me, I'm going to beat your ass. He says, Ma, yes, you've been beating me for those things, and I've been wrong sometimes, but you ain't always been right. He said, now, since we want to have this calendar conversation, he said, as time went by, I started developing a calendar too. I said, no, you did not. He said, Ma, I have a calendar too. And I said, on me? He said, yes. He said, there's nobody else here but you and me now. It used to be Daddy and us. He said, but it's you and me. It's like boys to men. You're my mother, you're my brother, you're my sister. All my life, we've been together. I'll be dependent on you and lean on me. And he would play that song, Lean on Me, with the piano. He said, but do I need to calm you down before I tell you what I've done? He said, let me play you a song. I said, boy, don't charm me now. He said, Mama, you act like the beast. He said, let me play you a song. I said, go ahead, but it ain't going to change my mind this time because it's been 6 months. I'm ready to strike. He said, all my life, I've done everything for you, and I thank God that we found you. And he said, you are my mother, you are my brother, you are my sister, all my life. And I said, oh God, and I started crying. He knew what would make me soften up. And then he said, Mom, I'm going to change that up now. He said, lean on me. And he hit the keys. I didn't know he could play. He said, when you're not strong, I'll be a friend. I'll help you carry on. And you know, and it still pulls me. I said, I better stronghen up in here because this boy got me. He's softening me up. And then he said, Mom, now I want to talk to you. I said, go ahead. He said, on my calendar, I told you not to go out because I didn't like that, bro. He said, and when you spent money, you spent it and the utilities went off. He said, when you came in past 7 o'clock from hanging out with your friends, and you know I can take care of myself in this house and I do everything you tell me. You were supposed to be back sooner and you come in with a Wendy, but that's all right. You brought me something to eat for dinner. He said, I've been marking you. I've been watching you, and you might sometime, you're hard-headed, you mess up, you look back at me to fix it. He said, that's why I'm coming to be your man now. He said, I understand you didn't get it all figured out and you don't want to mess up and do what you knew your parents did. Sometimes we don't want to go back and be an image of our parents, a copycat, but we don't have nothing else to resemble ourselves or mirror to it. We have to go back. And so I needed to go back because the water was my strength, and I needed to say, I need Mom to tell me what to do. And then I called my mother, and she said, whoop his ass. And I would come back again and try to be understanding us. And I go ahead, keep telling me what you found on me. He would have a list of things on me. And I got to shaking. And I said, boy, you got me. He said, but Ma, I never said nothing to you. And you've been messing up. And I've been taking your whippings. But he said, but today, we're not going to be going around whipping each other and knocking each other out because we're not hearing each other. We're not listening to one another. We're not being compassionate to what each other is saying. A child has a position, and I learned this that day, that it's not just the child has to be the child. The child is going to be with you until you get older. He's going to make you proud. He's going to try to help you keep going, throwing and yourself into the right direction. And I say, throw you back in line. You try to put him in line, but he needs to snatch you and throw you back into the line. It's the same way with the kindergarten teacher was telling me, get in line, Josephine. And I said, I'm in line. But hell rages when my mother come. And he said, I'm trying to get in line. But if somebody come after me, he said, well, hell would raise to find out that I'm going to reach back to my mama. And you're going to find out that you're going to be building bricks with iron bars and prison yourself. Because I will have you in a place that you know only belong, that you will be given to the dogs, and I'll throw the keys away. So anyway, we had this conversation, and I said, well, you know, I'm going to let you slide this 6 months. I said, I'm taking you off the calendar. But I want you to know in life, and I said, I'm going to teach you a lesson that since we're going to break it this way, life will evaluate you. Life will challenge you. Things will get hard. You would have to reflect back to this day. Everything can't be negotiated. Everything can't come siege to you. You cannot make people change their mind, directions, and legislating the laws because you say so. And a lot of times, it does change things. And I look at history. It does make increments in our milestone. It changes things. But the long as that road goes, it's going to come up again. Somebody's going to snatch you back in the line. And I told my son, I said, Lord have mercy. I said, you are my son. And you're going to be a masterpiece. You are the young man I've been looking at, thinking I couldn't do it and I didn't have the skills to do so. But you have risen and you will rise up over me. And I must honor the fact that I raised a well son. And I must allow you to speak to me and speak to my heart. Rather be the meditation of the music. Keep me straight because I know I can go too far. And he said, Mama, that's all right. I understand. He said, but I want to tell you one more thing. He said, you were right. I said, when was I right? He said, you were right as a woman. Because I'm going to tell you this because I read something the other day from Mary. She was saying about a woman when they go through something with a man and then they don't know if to stay or leave. So he said, Mama, you were right. He said, you were right. And I was only 2. He said, I watch you fuss with Daddy. I know you love him. I watch you argue over the same thing, and things got crazy and dangerous, and you got miserable, and you cry at night, and you went to work anyway, and you spent every dime, and he would lose money and lose jobs. But he's a good dad, because every child loves their daddy and their mama, no matter what they go through. I don't care, I don't care what the 2 adults are disputing about. But you got to hold on because the kid has found some qualities in that other person. And it don't make it right for you because they have found something good about them. They got something on both of you. And he said, Mama, you were right. He said, I'm glad you did this, and we're going to make this, and we're going to be able to do this. He said, I'm going to stand with you in life, and I'm going to call you when I think you're down in your lowest point, and I'm going to test you to make sure that you stay in line. I said, Lord have mercy. Now, you know, I got the utility bill coming again. I ain't got no money. He said, don't worry about it. He said, God will provide. He said, God has been talking to me. You listen when a child said God has been talking to him. My son was a holy child. He looked like it had a halo over him. And a halo is a song I hear, but my son, and he talked to me, and he talked to my sister, he talked to my mother, and he's still talking today. I know today you say, women say, well, he ain't right with me. But we weren't right with ourselves as women. And I'm getting back to Mary. If you ain't right with yourself, it doesn't matter what man you get. How you sleep up under him, how you demand for him to do more and go to work, have 2 or 3 jobs, satisfy you, give you everything. It doesn't matter if you laid there, lost a child, and she was alive before you married. And your relationship ain't going well because you ain't give your child a chance to grow. You didn't let her leave, and which sometimes we don't want them to. But my son left at 17, and I can tell you, it's a painful process. And you have to find a way in the midst of everything you've gone through. Don't look at it what the man ain't doing. Don't say what he ain't capable of. It's what you are capable of. And that is your perimeter. That is your zone. You got to live within the box they put you in. And I'm going to say box with soil and put the seed in there. Grow in your space. Blossom in your space. Learn from it. Let it be your strength and thrive. And this is what I have to say today. And I didn't never wanted to go this far. But I've been shorting you guys on stories. And I'm thinking about going live. So if anybody have anything to say to me that they want to talk to me. Now you got to catch me in the morning when I'm usually cooking and emotional. But you get me in the afternoon, you're going to get that crazy clown out of the box. Because my son would say, Ma, I don't need you to be a clown sometime. I need you to put that back in the box. Because I need you to talk to me as a mother. And you put that joker away and you put that demon, because I know he's going to make you curse if I keep on trying to explain something to you. So if you got a child that wants you to come clean, and you may have to pray that night like my mother did, Lord Jesus, help me find a way to communicate with my child before I lose them, before they run away, before they get caught up in a bunch of political activity out there and they're gone forever, before they leave to go to another state, never come home again. And I can tell you a story. But you need to come clean and fess up to your own fault so you can understand why you're where you are. Now that's all I have to say. And I give my time on my eggs to boil. I'm going to turn it off and let them continue to cook and simmer into this water and continue to cook while I get this potato salad together. It's time for me to eat my breakfast. Like and share.